Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo, and today I'm joined by Eminem, Mr. Mateo Mayorga, and Mr. Marco Romo. Manny said it's too late to use the new intro because he threw up the old one, so shout out to boy Manny for running the show as well. And as you guys are always, like I said, if you guys are new to the channel, and we're joined by Ethan as well. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys like the video, make sure you guys subscribe as well. We appreciate that as always. Now, if you guys are young, with the family and you want to make sure all your assets are protected if something does happen to you want to make sure you go to Mark Brown PA. That's marcbrownpa.com, or you can hit him up at 954-866-8513. It's based out of the North Lauderdale area. Services pretty much the entire South Florida. So if you're anywhere in the area and you have no idea what I'm talking about as far as asset protection or making sure anything is protected for your future, family, give Mark Brown a call. Like I said, the website is marcbrownpa.com, or give him a call at 954-866-8513. Give your business to a Heat fan, not to a Lakers fan or a Knicks fan, right? Make sure you give it to Mark Brown. Now, every single day, like we did last time, we play our prize picks, our rapid fire prize picks. You want to make sure that you maximize your money with us? Make sure you use the promo code 5, spell that out, FIVE, and we'll double your deposit up to $100. So like I said, go to PrizePicks.com. It's the best way to play daily fantasy. You pick up a couple players, decide if they'll go over on points, rebounds, assists, or under. And if you get most of them right, you can make some money. And like I said, with that flex play, you even have a little bit of a cushion if you get one of them wrong. Go to PrizePicks.com. Use that promo code 5. Spell that out, FIVE. And make sure you guys win some money with us. We do it every single day, so make sure you guys maximize your money. Gentlemen, we're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. And going into the season, they weren't one of the teams that were probably projected to be competing. And, obviously Miami had intentions of competing, but we're not too far as the records go, right? They're just a couple of games behind us. And the main reason of their success have obviously been SGA, right? He's been an absolute monster for them. But just the young core is just fun and exciting to see those guys play without much of an expectation on their back. It always feels like when guys don't have as much expectations, they're allowed to play a little bit more free. But let's get to this Miami Heat team, because we saw Miami pick up the win last time against the Pacers. And Mateo, it's felt like Bam was the best of all of our players, in my opinion. I feel like he had the best game. So it begs the question, right? Which of the three players, when it comes to Hero, Jimmy, or Bam, should be the number one option that would make this team the most successful?
Tonight, I would say Bam Adebayo. I think Jimmy Butler and Caleb Martin are going to expend a lot of their energy trying to cover SGA. I say Bam because their backline defenders are weak, and they also give up the second most amount of second chance points in the league at over 16 a game. They're very poor on the defensive glass. So if Bam has a very good game, the Heat are going to be in it no matter how poorly they shoot, aside from Bam. So he's my guy.
Marco, what do you think about not just tonight, but also the rest of the season?
Well, tonight Jimmy's out, right? I don't know if that was confirmed already, because it's the first night of a back-to-back that they're trying to maintenance him or whatever they call it. But yeah, I agree with Mateo. It's Bam, because the back line for the Oklahoma City Thunder is notoriously tall, lanky, but they're not really strong like that. They're not built like that. That's more those are the guys that give Bam trouble. The Steven Adams, the guys that can just bully him, or at least match him in strength. And this Oklahoma City team is not like that. At the beginning of the season, they kind of got a lot of wins, mostly out athletic. I don't know how you say that. They were out athleticism. Yeah, that's true. They were out athleting everybody that was kind of coming into their building, and they were just running them up and down the court, because SGA is a really good player in terms of getting guys to their spots. He's elite at that. Tyrese Halliburton's really good at that too. So Miami's going to probably defend him the same way, I expect. Eric Spoelstra loves whenever they have one guy that can just key in on and just take him away and make everybody else beat them, which is what I expect tonight.
Yeah, just cutting the head off the snake. Go ahead, Ethan.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'd go under on SGA on PrizePicks tonight, for exactly that reason. They tend to try to take that guy away. And I'm glad Marco mentioned that about the Tyrese Halliburton thing, because I think it's going to be very similar the way they play SGA tonight. Like, I think now that they've kind of let that out of the bag, that is the way they're going to handle these situations, Spo's just going to go to it, because I think we're at the point, we're at the tipping point now where you need wins more than you need to hide what your strategy is going to be later in the season. They've had seasons like last year when they were the number one seed. It's kind of like, all right, they're holding some things to the playoffs. You can't do that now. Like Spo is at a point where he's playing 8-man rotations. the first and second week of December. Okay, so I mean, this is where they're at. Is they're trying to save. I sort of call it save the purpose of this season, right? Like they have to make this season matter. You know, there've been only a few Heat seasons that didn't matter. That you look back and then you're like, okay, there really nothing happened of any significance. This one was kind of heading in that direction, so they need to solve that now. I think the answer to your question, Jonathan, is I think they're always best off when Bam is not their number one option, but is their most aggressive player. I think those are two different things. But when Bam's shots are up, when his aggression is up, they win. And I am not. It's funny that I'm getting painted as a Tyler Hero hater here because I've been one of his biggest supporters, and I was a supporter of the contract and a supporter of him not getting traded and all that. But it does seem that when Hero is the guy relied upon, they lose. So to me, it's Bam. Jimmy gets in where he feels like he wants to get in. And you mentioned taking the second night, the first night of back-to-back. I was told, and I know this was reported today by Anthony, that this is probably the last month that this is going to happen, that they're trying to get Jimmy a little space here with his knee, but also with his back, which hasn't been widely reported. He's had some trouble there. But I expect him to start playing back-to-backs next month. But I think it's Bam, and I think it's Bam tonight for a lot of the reasons Mateo talked about.
Yeah, I mean, Marco's been going to the gym. He's probably can take Chet down low, to be honest. So, but let's get into that
broken
matchup.
foot. I would hope I can take him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what Chet's first step is these days.
But let's get to the matchup tonight, right? Because we talked about offensively, I think they're a top 6 league top 6 team when it comes to scoring, Marco. But defensively, they're about, I think, 28th when it comes to allowing points per game. So where are the holes in Oklahoma City's defense that Miami is going to be able to expose tonight?
It's in the interior in terms of paint scoring because they're good at pressuring. Shout out to Lou Dort, who's one of the best, perimeter defenders in the league. They can pressure you up top. SGA is an underrated defender. He's for a point guard, especially who is that long. He's going to be at least a solid defender for the future if they don't mess it up, which they might. But yeah, I expect them to kind of pressure Miami up top the same way that I was watching the Milwaukee game last night. They were using a lot of Javon Carter, kind of like denying Steph Curry, Wesley Matthews kind of pressuring Klay Thompson. That's the kind of stuff that Oklahoma City wants to do. They want to speed you up more than you want to, which is not Miami's game. They want to, be right in the middle in terms of pace. They've been in the bottom tier in terms of pace, even though, again, they tricked us into saying, tricked us. I think everybody knew they weren't going to be a high-paced team. But they're going to be a slow-down team. And
Marco's feed slowed down completely. There.
Right. So
it's moving at the Heat pace, Jonathan. Hold on.
Mateo, but close us out on the holes that you think that OKC has defensively.
Well, I think he was hitting it on the head with their interior, but here's the thing. Their point of attack defense, how I see it, is pretty weak outside of Luke and Stort. You can expose them with ball movement and a high volume of screens, and it usually puts their backline defenders in compromising situations. And I see a bunch of overhelping, which allows opponents to score a lot of points in their paint. So really, they're not very good on the defensive end, aside from slowing down the opponent in transition. Opponents don't really score too much after a turnover on this team, but I'd say that's the best thing they do. So in the half court, the shots will be there.
Now, Ethan, let's get a little bit more, not too big picture, but between tonight and tomorrow night, obviously they're resting Jimmy tonight with the hopes that playing tomorrow night, they're going to have him. Which one of the two games do you think it's more likely for Miami to win?
Well, I think they get both, honestly. I'm not being a homer here. I think that they look as bad as the offense was against Indiana. Okay, the defense was excellent, and I know Jimmy has harped on this, and this idea that it's always defense is always the problem for them is not accurate. Their shooting has been a huge problem for them this season. Okay, but when they have defense, they have an identity, at least. It's something to build upon. So I was more encouraged by the fact that they did that to Indiana's two best young players the other night defensively than I would have been if they'd won 127-106 with hot shooting that wasn't going to last. Okay. So, because at this point, I think we kind of know what the shooting is. It's not good. And unless without a rotation change, it's not going to be good because Strus has kind of hit the wall here. Vincent, I don't even know if he gets back in the rotation regularly when he's fully healthy, because now Oladipo's got that role, which means their 3-point shooting probably goes down, even though Gabe didn't shoot the ball well this year. He's a better shooter than Oladipo from deep on average. Not this season, but he has been. And so, and Duncan's not going to play. So I don't know where the shooting is going to come from. So to me, this is just about just defend the hell out of teams. Like that's it. And if that means that Max or Tyler or one of these guys doesn't play late and you're going with Vic, you go with Vic. You go with Vic. You go with Caleb. I don't know if I'm going to suggest Haywood Highsmith minutes, but I think that you focus on the defensive part now, because that will at least set a baseline, and then you can build from there. And I go back to most of Spoelstra's teams. When they started to figure things out, it's because they started to defend at a high level and the offense eventually came. I think that's the way that this thing has got to go.
Awesome. Now, before we get into the prize picks, Mateo, I want you to give us one player that's not from the core four of Miami that you think steps up tonight.
Caleb Martin, definitely.
Love your boy, Caleb Martin.
He is going to be, he needs to be a very good defender tonight to slow down SGA. It's easier said than done because he is relentless attacking the square. He's a big reason why the Oklahoma City Thunder take the second highest amount of shots in the restricted area and convert at the 4th highest rate. He attracts a whole bunch of help, leaving guys open. He's really a scheme buster, John, but Caleb Martin is really just going to need to be on him a whole lot. I would suggest the 2-3 zone, because you want to have 3 backline defenders available to collapse on the paint whenever Shea touches it. Maybe you throw out some box and one if you want to get creative, which is 4 players in a zone and 1 guy in man-to-man just harassing him all over the floor. Preferably, that would be Caleb, but he's going to need to step up tonight. He's going to need to be Jimmy Light.
Well, the good thing is we know that when Jimmy doesn't play, Caleb tends to play a little differently. He plays that role, and when Jimmy plays, he plays into a different role. So it's good to say that. So let's kick off the prize picks. So, Mateo, I'll let you kick it off with Caleb Martin. He's at 12.5, right? So are you going over on that, or are you going under?
For points?
Points, yes, sir.
I'm going to go with the under. He's going to be too gassed to score and probably shoot well from deep. I don't think he's going to have too much lift on his outside shot.
Ethan, they have Bam. They actually raised him up a point. He's at 21.5 now this game.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm scrolling through the board though, because I'm going to cheat. Hold on. I'm looking at points, rebounds, and assists for him, because I feel like that's a better place to go. So let me scroll down. We got an 8:00 game. You got to go down here a little bit. He's at 36.5. It's a lot, actually, if you think about it. I mean, you're talking, what do you got? You're 21, 13, and 3 would do it. 21, 13, and 3. We think he gets there. I think I might play that over. I will say, can we do one thing I want to ask? Because when you put in Caleb as the guy tonight, what has Kyle Lowry done with the Heat to deserve being part of a core 4 that Caleb Martin's not doing this season?
Is that a question for me?
I think it's the paycheck.
I'll go to Marco on this. I'm just wondering, like, Spoelstra all of a sudden anointed them the core 4, and I'm like, is he trying to get Kyle's confidence up? Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, we're even. I think they have a core 2, and then they have kind of, it's then the next guy's after it. But Mark, what do you think? I mean, we keep calling Kyle part of the core 4, but I mean, he may have he may take 3 shots tonight.
He's the core. They're the core 4 of Mickey's pockets, pretty much. So that's about as far as I'll go. But honestly, it's probably just Spo being like, these are our vets, per se, and our young guys. Our 2 vets, our 2 young guys who are kind of leading the charge. But outside of that, Kyle's been okay for the past month. But honestly, when you're part of a core 4, you have to be more than just okay. That's like Caleb Martin's okay. He's been more than okay, actually. So honestly, I don't know if he's earned that, but it's Spo kind of just talking them up. They're the core 4 guys that they're going to look to in the playoffs, I guess, is what he's probably going to aim at.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that. Anyway, the question you asked me was Bam. I'll go over this 36.5. But use that code 5.
Yeah, no, I think like Mateo and Marco said, that interior defense is going to be a little bit more open for them. So if he's able to get those second chance opportunities, then it just makes it a little bit easier for him. The rebounds, I think, is what puts him over more. Like over the last 5 or 6 games, his rebounding has been on another level. So I think that's really what will help carry over for that points, rebounds, and assists. Let's get to Kyle Lowry, since we were talking a little bit crap about him. 13.5 points. Marco, what are you feeling about Kyle Lowry tonight?
All right. My last prize picks, I went over after being undefeated. So hopefully let's get back on track. I'm going to go under here. Kyle hasn't really looked to be the guy to score recently, even more so than he was in the beginning of the season. There might be more tonight because Jimmy's going to be out, but honestly, I still don't expect much out of him in terms of scoring. He might have a good high assist game in terms of getting the ball to Bam, or maybe the shooters get hot. Maybe Max, being in the starting lineup helps a bit. But I'm still going to hit that under for sure. I don't know when's the last time he set the over on 13 points, honestly.
Yeah, it was at 14, and then they dropped him down because his scoring started to go down. So, yeah. So, Ethan, kick us off on predictions and give us a key to tonight's game as well.
Well, I do think they win tonight. I feel like like I said, I think they found a defensive identity. I like the Caleb pick too. I think this is the kind of team that he plays well against. He can get out in the open floor against them. I think he'll have some easy attacks. I think a transition, which get him going. Maybe a transition 3 or 2. I expect Caleb to go over. I would, if I don't know what the number is. Was you say 12.5? I would say 17 to 19 tonight. I think he gets, and I think a good Bam game. So I think they get those. And also, look, I with Tyler, with Jimmy out, things get less complicated for him. So I think it could be a big game there as well.
Also, to continue with that point, Tyler Hero is at 2.5 3-point shots made. We talked about it last game, or actually going into last game. He was hitting on those like 8 out of the last 10. So he's with that, not a lock, but 2.5 3-point shots made for Tyler Hero when he's been attempting 8 to 10, almost 13 straight games. I'm going to take 2.5 for Tyler Hero on that. So, Mateo, get us continued on the predictions for tonight and give us a key to tonight's game.
Gentlemen, I don't like it for the Miami Heat tonight. The opponent scores 117 points tonight. That's more than what the Heat are producing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a monster, standing at 6'6", scoring 30 points a game on over 50% of his shots. There is really no stopping someone like that because the rules favor the offensive players so much. I still have to see more from Miami as of late to, buy some of this sauce, because they got to 500 once this season, then dropped a few games and did it again and dropped some more. And I'm a little traumatized at that. They don't have a very favorable record on the road, to their credit. OKC doesn't shoot as well in their building, but I'm going to go with a Heat L tonight.
Interesting. Marco, I know you'll never take a Heat L, so Miami winning, and how does Miami get it done?
Man, I've been taking Heat L's all season, just in a different way. I'm going to go with Miami. I almost went to Oklahoma City. I went Miami tonight. I think they do get this win tonight. I think the Houston game is going to be the trickier one. But I think tonight they're going to get – I think they're going to be riding the high off of the defensive game. But again, like Mateo said, we've been stung by them all year in terms of you finally start kind of believing even a little bit. Then they drop your heart just like that.
Miami is the ultimate gaslighter. That's the Miami Heat right now. I do think Miami wins tonight as well, though. I think that we're going to get a heavy dosage of the Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo pick and roll, right? That's going to be something that's going to set up Tyler Hero's passing. I think Brady is the one that posted about it. His passing has just become phenomenal. Like, he's starting to develop that. The reps that he had at point guard like 2 seasons ago, which was a failure, quote unquote, is starting to translate now. So it's good that he had those reps back then, because now as a passer, he's starting to produce a little bit more. So I do think Miami gets the win tonight. I think Bam is the best player on the floor tonight. Make sure you guys use those prize picks. Use the promo code 5. Spell that out, FIVE. Double your deposit up to $100, and also hit up markbrownpa.com. That's marcbrownpa.com, or give him a call, 954-866-8513. Make sure all your financial assets are taken care of. That's no joke. If something happens, you do want to make sure that stuff is taken care of, and make sure you give your business to a Heat fan. So, as always, thank you from Eminem and Mr. Ethan J. Skolnick, and we'll get you, I'm not sure if Manny has the post-game, but we'll get you into some post-game interviews.